Welcome to the Q Collection Comic Book Preservation Project. This will be done in 45-second increments. Hopefully we'll be able to put them together for YouTube to have a complete, finished video of projecting where we are, where we're going, and how long it'll be before we get there. What you're looking at right now is one of the 200 key comic books in the collection. Key comic books are #1 issues, first appearance of a particular character, or a classic cover. We have 200 in temporary binders. These are the temporary binders. We're up at 45 seconds. I'll continue. This is part 2. We're going to show you some of the comic books that are in the collection. Keep in mind there are 200. You're only looking at a handful of them. The first one you're looking at is Silver Streak #6, considered the classic cover of all times. Then I'm going to scan over. You'll recognize most of these if you know what comic books are. You're looking at the Red Raven #1 and Human Torch #2. That's the same series, and they went on to be one of the most famous series of all time. Here we have Batman #1, All-Star Comics, several of those, going on to section 3. This is the third increment of this video. We're just looking at more of the comic books in the collection. We're not going to go over details because increments of 45 seconds only. I'm sorry this is so amateurish, being that I am such a professional. We're zipping through, a little few by few. These comics are very, very rare, and we're hoping to keep them for 5,000 to 10,000 years. They've been laminated with UV-resistant Mylar laminate, the same that's used in the Smithsonian Institute. These are scheduled to go into the Smithsonian Institute within the next year. This is part 3. I'm going to read a bit about the collection. The Q Collection Comic Book Preservation Project was begun in 2001, and the completed collection should go into the Smithsonian Institute in 2011. The 200 key comic books should reside there from 5,000 to 10,000 years. Comic books are one of the 5 folk arts that originated in the USA and have spread throughout the world. The Q Collection was created to rescue and preserve key comic books published between the 1930s and the 1970s. Preservation is necessary due to the poor quality paper that these comic books were printed on. This is the 4th section, I believe, and I'm going to read one more section. In 1989, Ernest Gerber wrote in the Photojournal Guide to Comic Books, Volume 1, "The worst enemy to comic books is ignorance and procrastination. First, we refuse to face established facts. Then, when the collector finds out about them, he figures that there is no rush to store the comics properly, and eventually he'll get to it. Friends, the clock keeps ticking and that cannot be reversed. Lives of perishable pulps can be easily extended for many generations if you want them to be." What you're looking at is a prototype binder built by Eli. Eli's going to introduce himself in a moment. He's going to be producing all 75 binders eventually. Let's say hello to Eli first and let him speak for himself.
Hi everybody, I'm Eli. I'm a furniture maker here in Boston, and I've been working on these binders with John for a good part of the past year, and we've gotten pretty far. We're on to the final design, we hope. It started with just a plywood box, and now we've worked our way up. This was our 2nd design, and it gets the idea of our...
Section number 5.
This is our 2nd design after the plywood. It uses hardwoods. It has inlaid brass hardware for durability over time, and it seals the comics in there to prevent air and light from getting in. After this, we're going to move on to using our final woods, which are ancient Kory wood, ironwood, and Alaskan cedar. some of which are over 50,000 years old, and that should give our binder the lasting power to keep up with the laminates over the comics. Thank you.
When the prototype binder is completed, we will then begin work on our new homepage. That homepage will be part of a proposal for assistance that will go to Steve Geppi and Bill Gates. Steve Geppi is the owner of the company that publishes the Overstreet Comic Buyer's Guide and a part owner of the Baltimore Oriole baseball team. We will not accept 1 penny from Steve Geppi for this project. We are seeking his assistance and guidance during the final stages of the project. Bill Gates and his foundation will receive a proposal to cover the cost of the remaining 75 binders required to hold the more than 200 key comic books going into the project.